we're going to talk about things that nobody else will. Success leaves clues. And if you're going to make the same mistakes you made when you were a teenager, then you if you want to get good at something, you've got to sharpen your sword. We're going to smash this. A massive freaking thank you to Wonder Films for not only hosting all the podcasts and being our amazing partners, but for also sponsoring this episode of the Little Bricks Podcast. Thank you, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Little Bricks Podcast Season 2 with my good friend, Chloe Clover, lead wanderer.
Thanks, Lee.
All-round legend. Really grateful for you joining us today.
I'm proper stoked to be here, if I'm honest. Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
This is cool. So we were just debating before we come on and we started talking about being a brand leader, the importance of a personal brand, the use of media and video within business and life now and how important it is. I want to talk about the name first.
About which name? About my name?
Clover. Is it like a Madonna and a Janino? Clover alone, or do you prefer Chloe Clover?
Yeah, like Cher.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. See, Clover can get away with it. It's a cool name, but if I was just to go call me Lee, they'd say Lee what?
I think people. I don't know. I think if you say Lee, you think Lee Flanagan, don't you?
I'll live with that. I'll live with it. Or Lee Nelson, that chav comedian. But either way, we digress. So thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks.
Clover is Clover's what you've produced. You guided all of our media work. I'm very grateful for that. Finally dragged you in front of the camera from the other side.
Yeah.
Tell us about your story.
Oh, it's where do I start? It's a pretty big story.
Way back travelling in your life.
Okay. Well, I guess what a lot of people don't know about me, although a lot more people recently know, is that I actually started out as a bit of a dropout, believe it or not. I didn't really fit at school. I wasn't really I wasn't really a do you know, like that whole you have to sit down, people have to tell you what to do, you have to do these set things. It wasn't for me. So I didn't finish school, and then I went to art college. I was lucky enough to still sit my GCSEs, and I got enough to go to art college, which I was really excited about. It was the same thing again. Like, I just wanted to be creative, you know, and it just, that whole system thing didn't work. So I dropped out of college as well. And I just got into I got a little bit stuck. I was going through the motions. I got a regular job. I was a support worker, which is an amazing thing to do, but it didn't fill that hole in my heart. But at the time I was also a musician as well. I was in a band, and that's what I really wanted to do. Like, I really wanted to make it in music, and that's how I met Lou, who is my business partner and partner. And yeah, she's a sick guitarist. Mm-hmm. I'm an alright drummer. And yeah, so we they were looking for a drummer. I went with them, and then yeah, that's what Lou and I were doing. We were traveling around the UK, and we were gonna go to America, and as bands do, it imploded, and Lou and I were like, right, there's you're not happy, I'm not happy, we're both supposed to do something, like, let's go figure it out. Yeah. So that's what we did. We bought a one-way ticket to the other side of the planet to go and figure it out, and while we were over there, that's what we did. Love
it. Absolutely love it. And I love Lou as well. She's brilliant. Great choice of words there as well. My partner.
Yeah.
I got messy for you. A couple of things that stand out for me there. So, like, you rebel against conformity. You know, creativity is really important too. It's interesting because, you know, since from a baby we get told fall in line. That's your timetable. Mm-hmm. Uniformed. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Didn't work for me as a baby either.
No. No. We always want to just fit in. Just fit in.
Yeah.
Can't you be like everyone else?
Yeah.
But the ironic thing about that is we always remember the ones that fucking stand out.
Yeah.
And dare to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's a lot easier for people to come, because I have a little girl, only 16, you know, and I want to express myself, be creative. Mm-hmm. Is it a lot easier nowadays than the dark old black and white days to be creative and to express yourself because of the different social media, different platforms, fashion? Everything's changed so much, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think in so many ways there's a lot more freedom. For the generations that are coming up, you can be who you feel you are, and you get a lot more support than you ever used to. That doesn't mean that it's an easy path though to be yourself. I think even through social media, you'd think that would allow you to be the real you, but in actual fact, I think that you're seeing perfect images of other people that you're actually probably more likely to try and be like them and not like you. So in a way, it's easier, but in a way, I think it's much more difficult for people to find the authentic them.
Yeah, I get you. I hear what you're saying. I think you're right on both. So you just went travelling. Back to your story. You go travelling. Where did you travel, and what was you looking for? What was the purpose?
Yeah, so we landed in Melbourne in Australia, and we were just. It wasn't like we set out and we were like, oh, we're going to go over and we're going to start this business, and it wasn't like that. It was just we both knew that we wanted more, and we have these passions, but we couldn't find it where we were, so that's why we went, and it was while we were over there. We had I was a barista for a bit, and we worked on a bar for a bit, and we did those things, but it was we were also exploring the things that we really loved as well, and we found work on a TV pilot, and it was that was like, once we started doing that, it was like, this is what we should be doing, like this is the thing that we both love. And we went to art school for. Lou's got a degree in television and film, and it was like, this is it. So we bought a camera and a laptop, and we started traveling, making really cool promos for businesses as a way to get us from place to place. And what we realized is that there was this huge gap where businesses didn't really understand how to use social media, but knew that they needed to be on it. And the stuff that they were putting out was stuff that they thought people, like it was them that was putting stuff out. Like they weren't thinking about the audience and the consumer and what they wanted and what they would engage with, or the mindset of people on social media. They were just like, oh, this is good, I'll put it out. It just, there was like a bit of a disconnect between business people and audiences online, and we realised that. And then, we had a few mad travels while we were doing it. And then we decided to come home. Yeah,
I love it. A couple of things to ask on that?
Yes.
You had another job as well, didn't you? Can you just tell us what that job was?
What?
Ladies of the Night one. You took, because Lou told me about it.
Oh, man, no, she didn't. I am. While I was travelling, I might have briefly worked in a brothel. However, disclaimer, I didn't know that it was one at the time. But we were just trying. we were just trying to get work. When we first landed, and there was this opportunity to hand leaflets out. I just thought it was a massage parlour, so there you go. And it was in a way. So I was handing them out, and people were walking past and like giving me these dead dodgy looks, and I realised pretty soon when I looked at the price card what I was actually handing out. Yeah, it was what a story though, right?
What a story. Life's full of them little moments. Brilliant.
Yeah.
You look back on and laugh.
Really glad you brought that up, Lee.
Thank you. So before we touch on business and the importance of social media, video, personal branding, you said about finding your purpose. Now, I looked out in the camera in this one. My favourite book ever is The Alchemist. It's a life-changing book. It's about finding your life's purpose, and we've all got one. I don't care if you're a baker, if you're from Middlesbrough, London, Sweden, boy, girl, whatever. We've all got a life's purpose. And everything's guiding you towards what that life purpose is. It's clues. Every single person, every single situation you come across. You've read it?
I have not read it, but you're making me want to read it.
Fucking hell. Listen to the audiobook. Yeah. Jeremy Irons, you know the actor?
No.
Oh, mate. Him and Alan Rickman have got the best bad guy English accent ever. But he reads it through. It's hypnotic. So The Alchemist, best book ever. So we're going to talk about businesses, right? Because if I can see a 6 here, you can see a 9. I can see a B, you can see a D. Until I get round and look at your way of thinking, I'm not going to understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think business for a long time, people thought you are speaking like business lingo. I remember I got told, never swear. You must wear this. You must listen and wear a different end of the spectrum for our creativity and our personalities, because we all are. Mm-hmm. Has that been difficult to sort of? Have you seen a change?
Well, yeah. I mean, we had really early on. We had a business consultant, I suppose is the word that I would use, and they'd come in and they'd talk to us and they'd try to help us, and we thought that we thought we needed that. We thought we needed someone with that experience to really help us. And what we found in some of those meetings, this consultant would tell us things like, you know, the videos that you're doing are great when you're vlogging and you're on camera and stuff, but people just aren't going to take you seriously. So you should really think about wearing a business dress and being a bit more presentable. And it was just like, it felt like we'd stepped back, and we were just both sat there thinking, like, why have we brought someone in who just doesn't know who we are and doesn't see the world the same way as we do? Because like, that's something that's so important. And needless to say that relationship didn't go on past that point, but it's being who you are is the most important thing, being yourself in business. And I think that's what we've done at Wonder, and I think that's what you've done at Bespoke as well, is that you've just been you, and that's what people feel like they can relate to.
Yeah, I get you. You know what? I'm 40, so I'm a little bit older than you. It's fucking hard to be yourself.
Oh man, yeah, it's
It's hard to be comfortable, to look yourself in the mirror and be the true version of who you are. Mm-hmm. So how can you try and be anyone else? How tiring, how taxing.
Yeah.
And we're going into the business world. Did you have to find, because we had conversations earlier on, I'm not naming no names here, business coaches, non-executives, different groups, people who want to have a chat, we can give you some advice.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to find some sort of acceptance, I guess, in some ways. Is that right? A little bit of reassurance that, yeah, we're doing the right thing, or we're actually doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
The mixed narrative that's out there.
I think because when Lou and I started, although we understood the industry and we understood our idea, we came back to the Northeast we didn't know anyone. We hadn't been on the business scene. We hadn't been in agencies. We hadn't done that. So it was really scary, and we were just two girls who dressed a little bit weird and said stalked and other things, and we were like, we just didn't think that people would take us seriously, and we didn't know anyone, and that was the reason behind us reaching out to people. But I think that what we realised was, yes, you need the right people around you, and yes, you need mentors, but it's got to be right. It's got to be right, and they've got to understand you, and you've got to understand them. And I think we had this like idea of a business person, and I think what we realised was that anyone can be a business person. It's just about that experience. It's not about who they are and what they represent, if that makes sense.
100% does, yeah. Well, we live in a world now. Lockdown's created so much opportunity. There's kids who've got mix-ups on Just Eat.
Yeah.
Delivery service for desserts.
Yeah.
Nails. So, you know, there's so many social media management. So many different people out there, and different industries and different opportunities and platforms and environments to go and be creative and earn self business. This is the era of the entrepreneur. This is the era of people who want to go out and make something for themselves. And there is so much opportunity. And although we're nowhere near where we should be, diversity and different ways of doing things is becoming a lot more acceptable. So, did you visualise when you started off? Because I've seen people are going to look at Wonder now. They're going to look at your personal brand now. As much as you shy away from it, it is a personal brand. And what can you tell me what you were? How many of you were? What was your office like? How many contracts did you have? What was the feelings like? And then where you are now, please.
Yeah. So we started. Obviously, we started while we were traveling, and then we were sat on a beach one day, Lou and I, and we were writing our business plan. We were writing our goals, like where we wanted to be, and what we wanted to do and what we wanted to achieve. And it was at that moment that we were like, if we're going to achieve these things, then we need to go home to do that. So we did. So when we when we came back to the Northeast and when we started, we actually moved in with my parents. And we used to say to people, oh, we're working out of a spare room. But in actual fact, we're working out of like the room that we were living in. So it was like we were both in this room and that was our office as well. And we were meeting people at Costa, and literally that was our life while when we decided to come back and make this happen. Yeah. So yeah, there was just Lou and I, and then we then got an office space at Launchpad in Middlesbrough, which was amazing, and they gave us so much support. So that was incredible. And then as soon as we got that space, we were like, right, this is it. This is momentum time. So then we hired our first guy, Simon. He's still with us and is freaking amazing. Nice. Like such a good guy. Yeah. And yeah, so and as soon as that happened, like again, it started moving really fast, and we got a bigger office, and we hired a filmmaker, and then we hired a social media manager, and then it's just sort of moved so quickly since then, and we're now a team of 13. We're recruiting for 2 more people, which should be by the end of this month, and yeah, done some amazing stuff, worked with some amazing brands. It's hard to it feels like you're bigging yourself up, doesn't it? And it's quite a difficult thing to do when you talk about your achievements. Sometimes it can be quite hard to do that comfortably, I think. Yeah.
Well, you're a humble person. You've got an air of humility about you, so it's quite endearing. We were talking about this morning. I feel it's programmed from an early age. You say to somebody, I like your hair, they always go back, I've just washed it. I just say it's a nice fucking compliment. Thank you, I appreciate it. It took me hours to do. Yeah. I don't have that problem, of course, but yeah, give someone a compliment, and for us to accept the compliment, it's quite a challenging thing to do. It's like Little Englanders, but we'll progress, we'll get better. It's an area of humility. What's been your biggest win and your biggest learning growing such a wonderful business?
Wow, what a question. I think that's a tough one. I think the biggest win, and I think there's been two really big wins for us. I think the first biggest win was when we worked with Riot Games, because that was just such a huge moment. They're such a global brand, they create the game League of Legends, which is just the biggest online game. So it's just, that was huge for us. And then this year, making the Forbes 30 under 30 that was a really big moment. And that was, in fact, when we were sat on that beach, that was one of the things we wrote down. We wrote down that we wanted to make that list. And this year we did that, which was incredible. Thank you.
Amazing. So we're going to go on to your written down list. I believe in the power of journaling. I'm up at 4:30. The first thing I do is drop to my knees and pray. It's my routine. I think I've got a billionaire morning routine. If nothing else, it keeps this right, because that's fucked up, right? It keeps me right. It makes me a better dad, a better person, a better friend, a better leader. I write down gratitude and I write down my goals, and I believe in journaling goals down. Because every time I write it down, I work like mad. It comes true. Do you still journal your goals? And how important is goal setting to you?
We do. So we every New Year's Eve we have a tradition. I mean, we write goals down and visualize and all of that stuff. We do that on a regular basis. But what's really important to us is our New Year's Eve routine, because that kicks off our year. And what we do, Lou and I, is we just shut the world out and we sit down and we write our next year's list of goals, and we do it religiously every year. And it's so important to set yourself goals, achievements, and all of those things, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever you're going to do in the decade. It's so important to do that, because you have to be able to visualize. You have to be able to say, I want this thing, and see that you're going to get it. Because, like, how can you achieve something? How can you touch something if you don't know it's there and you don't know it's real?
How deep do you go on your visualization? Do you touch it? Do you go and see things? Do you feel it? Do you blank out? Do you meditate?
It's a good question. That's something that I've thought about, and actually something that you've made me think about quite a bit, is that I guess I didn't really I couldn't really verbalize what it was that I was doing.
Right, okay.
Until you've started talking more and more about visualization, I didn't realize that that's exactly what we were doing. We just thought it was our way of getting it out of our head, you know. We just knew that there was stuff in there, and if we put it down together, it would then happen, but we didn't realize what we were doing. And now I realize that we're sort of mutually visualizing our life and then making us both accountable to making that happen. So yeah, we see it, we talk about it, and then we write it down, and make sure that it happens.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I was listening to a podcast yesterday, brilliant. He said, have you ever heard a really, like a serial killer, right? And you watch these interviews and they go, no, I did not do it. And they convince themselves.
Yeah.
Because they just said it so consistently, so precisely, and so clearly that they don't believe they did them murders.
Yeah.
The same thing in a positive, like with manifestation, right? Journaling, speaking things into existence.
It's weird that you say that, actually, because I'm actually like mad into true crime and stuff like that. Like I really love it. I listen to a great podcast as well, if you're into true crime, called My Favorite Murder. It's really good. And there's a link between serial killers and business leaders and entrepreneurs, because there's a lot of business people and successful business people are actually psychopaths and sociopaths.
Really?
Yeah, and and it's literally what you're saying.
I get you. Well, you know what? When we touch on mental health, can we talk on that?
Absolutely.
So I've had my frailties, I continue to. And I've self-medicated, drink, drugs. But I feel there's a lot of, the amount of people who contact me, and thank you if you do, by the way. I won't name names because that's not my place to. People who are in the STEPS program, I say, did you know that you're actually living the steps, the message you put out there? I just feel I'm a vessel to try and put positivity out there and help one person. I think we should all try and do that. But I get told quite a lot, your ethics and values and your routine in business, it's just the 12 steps. Everything we do is biblical, isn't it? Whether it's education, the law of the land, our behaviour, mental health, abuse, substance abuse. Have you been on them roads?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not, do you know what, I was speaking to someone a couple of weeks ago, actually, and it was on this subject, and I was saying to them that what's really interesting is that there's probably, and this was someone who has a charity that helps people with addiction, there's probably so many people that have suffered with addiction or substance abuse or whatever that is, self-medicating and all of that stuff. There's probably so many more people than you actually realise, because it's not glamorous, is it? It's not the thing that people like to talk about, because there's so many negative connotations that go with that, and it's wrong, and that stigma needs to change, because people just live their lives and people have so many struggles, and one person's struggles doesn't outweigh another person's. It's how they feel themselves. So yeah, it's a tricky subject.
It is. I think you're very articulate there. Are you still involved with your mum and the local charity that helps?
Yeah. So my mum, she's an amazing woman, and she has a support company and a charity that supports people. They run a project where they support people who are suffering with addiction, and helping with male suicide prevention as well. Yeah, so yeah, it is. It's really tough for people.
It is. We're going for it because my lowest lows, it wasn't for Honey, girl I was seeing at the time, Janine and Burley, being with them. Like, I definitely would have went, because I spent every single day was thinking, if I ended it that way, what would it be like? Should I do it that way? And I didn't know there was an outlet there to go and speak to, right? Because you get locked up inside your own head. You really genuinely are. Great friends, great family. But
It's like admitting defeat, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way. You know what? It's like, I remember once I got asked, why did you shave your head in the bath? I must have went 3 years with not looking in the mirror. I fucking hated the guy looking back. And it made me, it was like quite a bit of a turning point for me, that. Just to know that and accept it and for someone to explain it to me. So I think it's amazing what your mum does. She's a lovely lady. We'll come back to your personal brand, right? Quite the jump, but our conversations do that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Before your personal brand, it's such an important subject for business owners, entrepreneurs, people to get to know you. What are your values in business?
We actually have at Wonder, we've got what we call our the seven wonders of our world. And yeah, it's there's a few, but riding the wave is really important to us. Just making sure that you're enjoying the moment. It's easy to get locked up inside your own head and forget the good things that are happening and that you're enjoying what's going on around you. And also, it's okay to be a little cheeky, but don't be a donut. Essentially, just don't be a dick. You know, you can be a little cheeky, you can have banter, but if you're hurting someone, then you need to reassess what's going on there.
I agree. Any more? This is it, because this is fascinating. It reminds me of Netflix Culture Deck. I think it's fascinating. We took a lot from that. I would love to learn more, but I think
we also have one which is relationship goals, and essentially it's all about making sure that we're going above and beyond, and because when we're working with people, we don't want to work with everybody. We want to work with the right people, and we want to build a connection, and where you and I are friends, and we've got a really great bond and a really great connection, but I also want the team to have that connection with your team and have that connection with the people that we work with, because when we're creating content and when we're managing socials and putting strategies in places, then we need to be involved. We need to really understand what makes those people tick and what their personalities are like, because you just can't do it if you don't understand the personalities in the brand. Then how can you represent them? So relationship goals is another one.
It's massive. You read the All Black book?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
You got to read that.
I know you're so good at recommending stuff, and I'm so rubbish at actually listening into it.
One of their mantras is no dickheads.
Is it actually?
No dickheads.
Nice.
We say no genius jerks, because the good of the group's more important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Brilliant. Okay. So have we got any more? Can we share all 7?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd have to touch these one, but just say what each one is. I find them fascinating.
We got solutions over problems.
Love.
As well. And always # beat the scroll.
Beat the scroll. Yeah. What's that mean? So
beat the scroll. So that's Wonder's mantra, if you like. Yeah. That's what we live by, and that's our tagline. And it's all of that stuff. A bit like Nike's "Just Do It," you know. And I always beat the scroll. So essentially, when you everyone gets stuck on the phone and they're scrolling, and you're on the toilet or whatever, and you're just having a mish. You know that there's pieces of content that really stand out and that you engage with and that you watch when you're in that going through. The thing that makes you stop and the thing that makes you engage, that's beating the scroll, and that's what we do.
Great. Okay, we're going to talk about branding. Okay.
Yep.
Why is it important for business leaders who are watching this now or listening to it, whether it's selling clothes on eBay from home, whether that's a shop in the town, whether that's a coffee, whatever it may be, right? Why is it important to have your own personal brand when you're a leader of a business?
Personal brand is everything. I mean, we've had this conversation so many times. Like, it's not, because of social media, brand is so much bigger than the business now, because we are as humans connected to everybody like we've never been before. We know people that are on the other side of the planet that we've never spoken to or that we've never seen face to face. Like, we feel like we are connected to celebrity culture like we've never been before. We're all hyper connected. So just having the business brand and this this faceless voice, it doesn't work anymore. You have to have authenticity, and you have to be personable, and you have to be able to be real and share with people, and that's what builds trust. You know, when you learn about selling and stuff like that, and it's all about building trust with your client, right? It's the same thing online. You've got to build that trust, and to do that, you've got to have that people interaction, and that is what personal brand is. It's not ego, it's business.
Okay, cool. So with personal brand, can you give us some examples where people will go, I actually didn't know that guy had his own personal brand. I thought he was just part of that company, and how powerful that is to the company. Have you got any examples of stand where you go, that his personal brand's fucking off the chain, Lee, because of these reasons?
Your personal brand?
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Your personal brand is...
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
But it's lit, and even the way that you've done it is that Bespoke is its own brand and is its own voice, and that's important. Yeah. But you're the leader, and you're driving that company forward, and your voice and your authenticity is equally as important, and they both work together. Yeah,
I get that. I appreciate it as well. What we just talked about there about accepting compliments. I'm quite uncomfortable with that. Any other, like, many real, worldwide brands that you can think of where you go, this guy here for this reason?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Steve Bartlett.
Love it.
I love Steve Bartlett, Social Chain, and he's sort of stepping away a little bit now, and he's doing his own thing because his personal brand has taken him in a different direction, which is really exciting for him. I love Gymshark.
He's the best.
Yeah, Ben Francis is unbelievable, and his story is incredible as well, where he started it and it was the founder's story, and it grew into this amazing thing all of its own, and he felt as though he wasn't quite connected. He couldn't take it to the places he wanted it to go, so he stepped down from CEO. Amazing to do that. And then he built up his personal brand, learnt all this shit, and then was like, boom, I'm ready. Now he's CEO again, and those two things have collided again into something beautiful. And so I really like him. And Gary V, I mean, such a cool guy, and what he's done with he had his wine business, and then he grew his personal brand, and then because of that launched VaynerMedia, and he's just, there's so many heroes out there that are doing incredible things. What's really interesting there, though, that I just realised is I've just reeled off 3 guys. I don't know as many women that have done it in the same way. I think Sarah Davies, she's amazing. I think she's done incredible things as well. Obviously, she went on. She's now a dragon, which is incredible. So, and she's a local girl. So, big up Sarah Davies.
Yeah. Oprah's the ultimate brand, isn't she?
Oprah, of course.
Fucking best brand.
She's like me and Cher.
I love her. She's good. But there is out there. Michelle Obama's got her own brand now. There's a question. Can I ask you before we touch on personal brands again? Because this is fascinating. Being a female going into business in my industry, financial services, like, I'll just be really clear on this one. Old grey men full of shit, right? And they're not even that good. So we have to encourage diversity. We've got to bring in and break up that monopoly of greed and culture of money runs uphill, shit runs down. And them old guys in the corduroys and sweater vest, go. What about business for you? Like, is it been challenging as a female going into it? Can I ask you, can I be really deep on it as well? Like,
sure.
Is being a female going into business, it's a different new sort of business as well, which has its own challenges. But whether with sexuality, have you come across any conflict with that, where people have just been so fucking small-minded and mean?
Always.
Really?
Yeah. It's I think we're really fortunate that we get a lot of support, and Teesside is a really supportive environment, and we're really proud to be from here. But it is difficult. It is difficult. We definitely found it challenging at the start, being a couple, Lou and I, and being a gay couple as well at that, and being young women, and being a little bit weird. Like, there was all these things that did make it quite challenging to feel as though we were being taken seriously. We get told, it's weird actually, we get told so much, like, don't let it go to your head, don't get too big for your boots. You know, like just make sure that you don't get a big ego from whatever. And it's just like I just wonder whether those things get said to us because we're women. Like, has anyone ever said that to you?
I've heard things like, don't let things go at your head. Keep your feet on the ground. I'm like yourself. I'm from a very... I would never be able to... I reply... Someone... He's a nice guy, actually, who commented on my post of the week. I said, without a shadow of a doubt, the levels I'm working at now, my work ethic, I'm killing myself. I feel like I'm gliding through the levels and it's the best I've ever been.
Yeah.
And my absolute undying goal I've written down is to be the greatest of all time in my industry. But that's from being a homeless junkie 11 years ago who didn't have a car. We took one shirt on a training course. Mm-hmm. Keeping your feet on the ground is not something... I'm fine with keeping my feet on the ground. There's nothing wrong with writing your goals down and dreaming big dreams. I am a bit different, so what? You've got to be odd to be number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you come across any meanness with people you work with? I remember watching one video and it made me fucking sick talking about it. When you were doing a video outside the cinemas in Tomahawk and Darlington, someone pushed you in the back.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I think it's just unusual, isn't it? It's unusual.
What is?
I guess I don't know. I guess I'm trying to defend that.
I don't think it's unusual. I'm really sorry. I've got a lot of respect for you. I don't think it is unusual. What you're unusual, or what the business, or
I think it's just like I don't think people expect.
So you can push people in the back because you don't expect it.
No,
you can call them a name.
You totally can't. Like I agree.
It's not good.
I agree that it's wrong, but what I'm doing is trying to explain the mentality behind it. Because I think it's just we were just doing something that people don't see in our area, I think, and that gave them the confidence to show off. And yeah, so I don't think it's right, but yeah, so we definitely, it's challenging by fronting the business, by understanding personal brand, and by pushing yourself every day to put yourself out there. Like it's a really vulnerable place, and bad things happen, and people troll you, and people say nasty things, and if you let them all in, then you won't get anywhere because it's not going to stop.
Okay. So if you're going to be encouraging business leaders to say, you've got to accept the fact that the era of having a personal brand and being a real front or lead man of your business, right? A bit like the lead of a band, right? Mm-hmm. Oasis would never been it without that wonderful fucking front man. You all need a front man, don't they? Someone to remember you by, right? But there does become an air of vulnerability with that. You are going to get shut down. People are going to...
Not everyone's going to like you, either.
Not everyone's going to like you. Do they need to?
No, but it hurts. It hurts because of that vulnerability. Like, it definitely hurts when you can't be friends with everyone, and I know that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and like I can understand that, but it sort of takes you back to those. It takes me back to school and the way that I used to feel there, and it is hard, but you've got to remember, like, I guess that's why visualization is so important, because when times are difficult, you need to remember what you're doing it for. Yeah.
Empathy and kindness are important.
I think so.
You know what, school, that'd be really interesting. Like, why do we learn Bunsen burners or orienteering? Should we not do a class on empathy and kindness and culture and feelings? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree, because there's this, I think I've used this word already, but there's this disconnect with people where they don't understand that their words can hurt, and I think people really need to understand that. And I was lucky that I wasn't in school when social. I was in school when social was becoming a thing. You know, MySpace and MSN and stuff like that. It was becoming a thing, but it wasn't all consuming. Whereas to be at school now, God, there would be no escape for somebody. And I think that needs challenging. Something needs to be there to support people, because I can only imagine how difficult that is for young people right now.
Yeah, it does need challenging, but the change has to come from the young. The world belongs to millennials. The world belongs to the young, and they're the ones who have to direct that change, because the old ones don't understand the change. We make the change wrong. We're making a change for people. We can lead an example, but they've got to drive the change, and it'll happen with time. Time does that. Tell us about Lou.
Lou is the most amazing human being. She's everything. We believe in each other. Like, it's hard. Sometimes we find it quite difficult to explain, like, that dynamic that we both 100% support each other in everything that we do. Like, there isn't a moment where I don't want to be with Lou, and there isn't a moment where she doesn't want to be with me. Like, we spend 24/7 together because that's who we are. And to know that you've got that connection with someone, and to know that you want the same things and you're both willing to do anything to get it is incredible. And to have Lou's support is unbelievable. And she should be the face of bloody Forbes, and she should be on all of this stuff. She just doesn't want to be, and sometimes it's quite hard for people to understand that, but that's her decision and that's her choice, and people have the right to choice.
She's very bright as well.
She's
very bright.
And really hot.
Yeah. I'll leave that to you. I can't wait either. I can never say she is. Don't say that about her. So I think that's really the end of the podcast. The video vlog, interview, whatever we're going to call it.
That was really wonderful.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I thought you were magnificent.
No, I do you know what? I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I knew that I was sort of expecting you to come with some personal stuff, but no, it was a special moment. Thank you.
Appreciate it, bro. Listen, so thank you so much for listening, watching the Little Bricks podcast. To find out more, you can see on my social media. You can watch on YouTube, and you can listen wherever you listen to your podcast. That was Clover, lead wanderer. Fantastic interview, touching from all sorts: visualization, traveling the world, being a pimp, working in a brothel, winning awards, Forbes 30 under 30, a love for a partner, being a personal brand, the importance of media, empathy, kindness. Listen to this episode. It was epic. Thank you so much. God bless. Bye.
Peace.